So in the previous episode, we went over some of Hannett's main story and whatnot, and in this episode, we're going to be going on over to
Not acceptable.
the boss fight that I didn't cover because I ended up talking about other things. And the boss fight was pretty good in terms of story connection to it, because I've heard that there are some bosses that aren't so well connected to the story. I believe that Ophelia's boss fight in chapter 2 of her adventure, I've heard that that is sort of not great, but I think I read what it is and like, I don't know, that sounds pretty cool. So maybe it is going to be cool, but disconnected from the main story.
I see.
Hannett's story seems to be about both human nature and also just nature in general. It seems to be only humans as the sentient species in this setting. I don't believe there's talk of elves and the like, and dwarves and other such things. No kobolds, no.
Ugh.
I'm trying to think of any actual, like, Japanese fantasy race stuff, but it's all just, stuff like those river, turtle dudes and stuff like that. Kappas, I believe.
I'll not be
Anyway,
punished.
the boss fight, however, is pretty interesting. It helps foreshadow what's going on. It's a big critter that's kind of like one of those flying lemurs or whatever in Madagascar, and it's been displaced from wherever it came from, and it's just kind of going around fucking up
Let
wolves
my
and
arrow fly
leaving their
true.
dead corpse and making the other wolves watch. And I'm just like, man, I was playing through and I was like, this fucking asshole. Just he makes them watch. And it seems as though she's able to communicate with the wolves and such because she's able to like give them commands and be like, yeah, watch over like the dead and stuff, I'll be back. And so the boss
I'll do my
fight is
best.
pretty much to deal with this I don't know, it looks mangy. Big old purplish sort of flying critter, and we just kind of end up beating the
What
fuck out of it.
next?
I
You're
believe I
fine.
traded out Tressa for the fight, so I didn't get to steal its lunch money, which would have been hilarious. Hannett's gameplay isn't awful, and this ties into the next topic, which is the path actions, and more specifically, her path action, which is hilarious. So, let's see, the path actions so far. Therion, he gets to steal from people. And then Tressa, she gets to buy stuff from people. And they're kind of the inverse of each other, in that her action is the noble one, but it costs money. I don't know if if there's been like people that are too high level for me to trade
I'll
with.
do my best.
I don't know if that's been a thing yet. I know that's some things it's like, oh, you gotta be a certain level. I think with her, it's just like, how poor are you? So anyway,
What
yeah,
next?
hers it's just limited by money. The third character, Cyrus, he
You're
gets
the happiest
to
couple.
basically Sherlock scan people, and they divulge information. There's a chance that he,
Licensed me.
I don't know, he just insults them or whatever, or they notice. I don't quite understand the what it means for it to fail. Like, is he just like mad dogging them? He's just like full-eyed staring at them while they're just, I don't know, doing something, and he learns that they've hidden an item somewhere, I guess, or
My
they
turn now.
you get a discount at the inn. Just wild shit. After him, Ophelia, I believe, was the fourth, and
What
her
next?
ability is to get people to follow her around, and that's pretty neat. And this ties into the next topic, which is that there was an unaccompanied white woman who needed walking over to the nearest town, I believe, to the next town over. I think it was the next town over,
Fight them
where her
fast.
husband was at.
Out of my
And,
way.
we did that in this video. It might be in the footage. I'm probably going to show the footage of the boss fight. I don't know
What next?
if there's going to be enough overlap with the audio from this. And, yeah, it's pretty cool being able to get people
You'll never
to,
be
you can
defeated.
summon them. I didn't summon this unaccompanied white woman. I think she's, what was she? She was some like middle class kind of a woman. She was, what was it, genteel woman, I think she was called. So she was kind of fancy. And then, so that leaves Hannett as the next one, I believe, because I traded up Tressa. And Hannett, her ability is to have her big fuck off. I think, what is it, like a puma? I want that's a puma. Or a jaguar. I want to say it's a puma. This big fuck off puma. It just fights people. And I went around and had it fight a bunch of people. Thankfully, the area reset after her little story, and I didn't have to deal with the fact that everybody was just knocked the fuck out. And I could use the other class actions, path actions, I believe they're called, because it's Octopath Traveler, and we're traveling on 8 different paths, and so their actions are path actions. And hers is to just beat the fuck out of people with a puma. I gotta give it to her. That is pretty cool. If I had a big puma that went, and I would totally have it go around beating the shit out of people. I mean, they kind of accept the fight. They're like, "Well, have at thee, villain." And they spell villain with an E because it's Shakespeare Town. But yeah, I guess she is the rogue manner of getting into buildings by beating up the owners. Though I believe with her path action, instead of it being a percentage chance based upon some unknown factor, I believe if you level up more, it gets easier and easier to do. But her path action, essentially, the penalty is just if you lose, they don't like it. Which is hilarious to me, because, as I've read online, you can just stick this fucking panther on old people. They're just standing there, be like, "Ah, yes, the 60-year-old woman. She was found as a baby, and then became a bandit, and then after realizing that living in cities is pretty rad, she stopped being a bandit, and then she's lived here ever since. And so I don't know. She's been like a quarter of a century, possibly more. A 40-year-old bandit woman sounds kind of old to be a bandit. You'd think she would have settled down somehow, but I mean, I get she did, and it's just this out of 25 years since she last got to a scrape, and she's game for fighting a puma, and the village is only upset if you lose to her. I like to imagine that it's the town just laughing at you for not being able to beat up the elderly with a puma. I still just can't get over it. But yeah, her ability's pretty fun. I guess I can cover some of the other characters we got to. After, let's see, she was the 5th character. After her, we got Alfie, Alphys, Alphin, I believe is his full name. And he is able to basically do what Cyrus does, only it's not illegal to stare at them. He just kind of talks to them. The justification seems to be from his backstory, his little first adventure, is that he's just a cool dude and people like talking to. It's kind of like how people talk to me about their problems and then I try to help fix them. He gets people to talk to him, and he sometimes fixes them. Sometimes he's just like, "Oh yeah, what was her name, like Margaret? Margaret's always sad and wanting to fuck or something." If I remember right, the reason was she the there was a quest later on where there's some girl who finds out some stuff about her parents, and I think it might be the same woman. But yeah, and he's just like, "Oh, Gertrude, I've never seen her smile. She's just a fucking walking lemon of a woman, and just unconsolable with how much of a bitch she is. But we all love her, and I think he fixed her bones or I don't know. Her bones are having problems or something. He fucking fixed them. I can't. 80-year-old Gertrude and her creaky bones. I mean, I'd be cranky too if I was old and I was just walking around and I could hear my bones every time I move. I have 2 partially dislocated limbs, and I don't like the fact that I can hear and feel my right arm pop out of place every time I lift it. Yeah, that's like above a 45 degree. That's like, because 90 is like an acute. It's a right angle, I believe. So at an acute angle of like 45, anything above like 45 pops my shoulder out of place, or it just makes it crack. I'll eventually get it fixed. It's only been partially dislocated for 5 years now. And my left hip. But yeah, that's all the path actions so far. There's two more. I know that Primrose does a little jig. She shows off her uncovered ankles and I believe thighs. I assume her belly's uncovered too. She's kind of like a belly dancer. And she's the rogue action of please come and like join me on my adventure. Only it's in a very sultry manner, and like that's it's just I can't wait to do it. It sounds great. I can't wait to convince old grannies to come on an adventure because they've seen an exposed ankle for the first time in 30, 30 years. Almost every character is like very dressed, very put together, including the protagonists. There's no like brawl. There's no like fist brawler that's got like Toph from. No, Toph didn't. Did she have a midriff or whatever it's called? Was her like abs exposed? I don't think so. It was kind of like a tunic or a cloak or I can't quite remember right now. The Yeah, nobody really shows skin in this game. It now that I think about it, it is kind of weird that she's like the only person with like exposed ankles and calves. I don't think anybody else really shows skin off.
Let your wounds be healed.
Yeah. So I guess that'll no. I have to go. There's one more path. If I'm going to talk about the path actions, how cool they are. I think that last dude is named Oberyn, and he is the lawful way of getting into fights. He just kind of challenges people, and they're like, "Yeah, dude. I think he was like a what was he? He was some big military dude or whatever. I read his story a bit. He was some big dude. Anyway, this big fuck off, like 6 foot tall dude, fucking Jean Claude Van Damme dude with like a two-handed sword, just ready to just ruin your life. And you're like, I love the young people. And yeah, you just get to beat up old people and maybe children? I haven't. Huh.
This will help.
That's something to look into.